Welcome to a new episode.
Hello and welcome back to the Copy Connection podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris Bailey. And before we get into the nuts and bolts of today's episode, I have some incredible news to share with you. Because of you, the students, the apprentices, and the legends out there on site tuning in every single week, we're officially a top 100 podcast in the UK for the course category. Honestly, I'm blown away. This show was built to support the next generation of engineers. And seeing it climb the charts proves just how much hunger there is out there for high-quality trade education. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for listening, for sharing, and for making this community what it is today. Now, let's replay that loyalty with some serious value. In this episode, we're doing something slightly different. We aren't diving into a single plumbing system or specific calculation. Instead, we're focusing on the most important tool in the fab, and that's your brain. We're talking about how you actually revise. Here is the cold, hard truth I see every single year. I see students who are brilliant on the tools they can celebrate enjoying in their sleep, but they spend hours staring at their folders, highlighting every second line and rereading every single page until they're cross-eyed. Then the exam paper lands on the desk and their minds go blank. It's not because you're not capable, it's because you've been using passive revision. Your brain is just recognising the info, not recalling it. Today we are moving from recognition to recall. We're going to look at desirable difficulty, the idea that when learning feels a bit tough, it's actually working. Think of this episode as your revision masterclass. By the end of it, you'll know exactly how to structure your sessions, remember more info, and walk into the exam room with confidence of a pro. So settle in, grab a brew, and let's get started in this week's episode. Before we grab the tools, we need to understand the engine. Your brain does not store information just because you read it. A lot of students open their folders and read through the notes again and again. It feels productive, but most of the time, your brain is simply recognising information. Recognition is when something looks familiar. Recall is when you can produce that information from memory without looking at anything. Bit of an exam tip, your exam is testing recall, not recognition. You won't have your folders in the exam. Your brain has to retrieve that info on its own. Educational psychologists call this desirable difficulty. When learning feels slightly challenging, it improves long-term memory. So, if revision feels hard today, that's a good sign. It means your brain is building a stronger connection. Okay, so let's start with the heavy hitters, active recall. In the trade, you don't learn to bend pipe by watching a video. You grab the benders and you do it. Active recall is the same. It means testing yourself by trying to remember info without looking at your notes first. Imagine this scenario. Imagine you're revising indirect hot water cylinders. Instead of reading the chapter again, close the book. Ask yourself, how does it actually work? Try to explain it out loud. You've got the cold feed entering the cylinder. You've got the internal coil heat exchanger connected to the primary heating circuits. That coil transfers heat into the stored domestic hot water. Finally, the heated water exits through the hot outlets to the taps. If you hit a blank spot where you can't remember the next step, stop. That struggle is exactly where the learning happens. Check your notes, fill in the gaps and try again. Every time you pull information out of memory, you're strengthening the memory pathway. This is why active recall is the most efficient revision technique ever studied. Now let's have a look at the solder rule. Next up, space repetition. Most students are crammers. They try to download the entire course syllabus into their brains the night before an exam. But your brain is like mortar or solder. If you apply one massive wet glob, it won't set properly. It'll just slide off. The strategy here, you need multiple exposures over time. If you revise pipe sizings today, don't touch it again for 2 days, then revisit it a week later. Key fact, space repetition moves knowledge from short-term memory into long-term memory. Each time you return to it, your brain says, this info keeps coming back. We better keep it for good. Common mistake that I usually see here, trying to revise an entire unit in one long session. your brain becomes overloaded. Shorter sessions across multiple days are 10 times more effective. Now let's look at a technique used by the world's best learners. The Feynman Technique. The idea is simple. If you truly understand something, you should be able to explain it in simple language. Imagine you're explaining specific heat capacity to a first-year apprentice who's never seen a tool bag. You'd say it's just how much energy we need to heat a certain amount of water by 1 degree Celsius. Then you introduce the formula. Energy equals M times C times delta T. M is the mass, the amount of water. C is the specific heat capacity, which is 4.18 for water. And triangle T is the temperature change. When you explain it step by step like that, you force your brain to organise the knowledge clearly. If you can teach a plumbing concept out loud in simple terms, you're far more likely to recall it during an exam. So plumbing is a visual trade, as we all know. You're constantly imagining where pipes run, how components connect. We're going to use a strategy called dual coding. Dual coding means learning information using both visuals and written explanations at the same time. The strategy here when revising an open vented hot water system, don't just read the text, draw it. Start with a cold water storage system in the loft. Draw the feed pipe running down to the cylinder. Draw the hot outlet supplying the taps. Finally, include the open vent pipe rising back into the system. When you combine words and diagrams, your brain forms 2 memory pathways instead of 1. If you forget the words in the exam, you'll remember the picture. This next one is a game changer. It's interleaving. Most people study one topic for hours, but on site you don't do 8 hours of health and safety and then 8 hours of pipe work. You're constantly switching gears. The strategy here is to mix your topics. Do 20 minutes on hot water, then 20 minutes on calculations, then 20 minutes on legislation. Switching topics force your brain to consistently reset and recall different information. This improves your ability to answer those unexpected, tricky exam questions. This leads us to retrieval practice. You must do practice questions. If the exam asks what device prevents backflow and you're only reading notes, you might hesitate. But if you've practiced, you will instantly know it's a check valve or a non-return valve. Let's talk about formulas. Your brains love patterns. For the heat energy formula, energy equals MC times delta T, think of this phrase, my cold tank. M for mass, C for capacity, T for temperature. How do you put this into a 7-day revision plan? Well, here is an example. Day 1, hot water systems, do the theory and drawings. Day 2, cold water and components, try active recall. Day 3, calculations, practice questions until they're easy. Day 4, regs and safety, try mnemonics like SIGHT for safe isolation. Day 5, interleaving, mix all your topics up together. Day 6, the mock exam, timed, quiet and no phone. And day 7, light recap with flashcards and get an early night. One final thing, don't try and stay up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning the night before your exam, because all you're going to do is add more pressure to yourself on exam day. Once you've done your light revision the night before, make sure you have a good sleep, and then when you wake up, you're fresh and ready for your exam. One final thing, your environment matters. If your phone is buzzing, your concentration breaks. Here's something I've tried and used over the last 10-15 years. The Pomodoro technique. Set a timer for 25 minutes of focused, phone in the other room study, then take 5-minute break. Focus revision for 25 minutes is worth more than 3 hours of distracting scrolling. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this week's episode of the Copper Connection podcast. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this masterclass, it's this. Passing your plumbing exam isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about using the right tools. Active recall, spaced repetition, teaching concepts out loud, drawing systems, mixing topics. There aren't just study tips. These are the blueprints for your success. Every qualified plumber you see out there today, the ones with successful businesses and solid reputations, they all sat exactly where you are now. They felt the confusion, they felt the exam nerves, but they pushed through. You've got the talent, you've got the drive, and now you've got the strategy. So keep showing up, keep revising smart, and keep building that knowledge step by step. And here at the Copper Connection podcast, we've got your back every step of the way. Thanks for listening to the Copper Connection podcast. Make sure to hit the follow buttons and share with your fellow apprentices or classmates, and I will see you in the next episode.
We'll be back next week. In the meantime, please subscribe and thanks for listening.